Hello and welcome back to another week of Sambo iRacing, and we are here in the Lamborghini Hurican GT3 for another track guide. This time at the Autodromo Enzo Dino Ferrari, better known as Imola, and it should be a good one. If you're new to my channel, what we do is a hot lapper breakdown, and we're back in the cockpit one final time, the driving line on. Brake bias is set to 56%, and we are using the fixed setup. Right, let's start the hot lap. Alright, let's start the hot lap. Alright, trying to keep it as straight as possible, looking for this road on the right hand side, braking up to about 75%, trailing it off down to third gear, on the gas, holding it round here, just letting the car do its own thing, but remaining flat down with the right foot. Looking for the 50-meter sign on the right, braking up to about 50%, tiny dab on the brakes again, back smoothly on the gas, out over to the right hand side, looking for the 50 sign, brake up to about 70-ish%, long trail off on this, trying to get the power down smoothly, trying to avoid the traction control kicking in there on exit. 50-meter board on the right hand side, down to fourth gear, nice trail off, smoothly back on again. Now very tricky little Aqua Minerale here, so tiny dab on the brakes, another dab, down to second gear, straighten that wheel up before you put the power down, otherwise you're going to have traction control kicking in again. Okay, as we come up to Variante Alta, brake really hard for this, down second, be really aggressive on both of the inside curbs there. And now I've only got the reverses to go. So brake really hard at the 100, down to second gear, back on the gas. Tiny dab on the brakes again, and then back on the gas. I was a little bit hesitant there. It cost me about a tenth against my Delta, but this still was my best lap time. So 141.3. And over and across the line. Right, we have the breakdown lap coming up next. Okay, breakdown lap. Try and power through this as quickly as possible. So first braking marker is this little roadway on the right hand side that you see bisecting the grass here. So as we get through there, we brake up to about 75%, hold it, hold it, hold it. We've not changed our steering wheel at all at this stage, just wiping off all that speed. Then we start trailing off down to the first apex here in third gear. As we get to the apex, we give a blast. We're in third gear now, and we're just holding it all the way through the second and third apex of this chicane. Tamburello, looking at the wall on the right hand side where Senna ended his life sadly, and then on the right hand side here, 50-meter sign is coming up. This is where we're braking for Villeneuve. This is the corner where Roland Ratzenberger had his problem. What a bad race weekend that was in 94. Little dab on the brakes again, drop it down to third. Going to be late getting onto the gas here because we can't take too much curb on the inside. And then we're powering onto the gas. We can come nice and wide here on exit, but we've got to keep our right-hand tyres on the track. Back over to the right-hand side. I can either use the 50-meter board or, again, this little entrance road on the right-hand side. As we get there, we're going to go on the brakes up to about 70%. Quickly release that, and then a long trail off down to second gear, getting back on the gas at the apex and getting back on 100% as we're opening the steering. 50-meter board on the right-hand side. That's when we're going to do a little dab on the brakes up to about 65%, trail it off down to fourth gear, and now we're building back up. And when we're at the apex of 8, we're already back up to 100%. Exit nice and wide, that's fine. Again, you've got to keep your left-hand tyres on the track. So it's the 50-meter board on the left-hand side where we're going to do our first dab on the brake here, and then we're going to trail that off to the first apex. Do a little blip of gas, and then we open the steering up. We want to get a nice wide entry here into Aqua Minerale, the second part of it. Brake up to about 65%. We drop it down to second. And again, before I go up to 100%, I wait till I open up the steering, as I've just done now. Now, we're wanting to cut the corner, but keep our right-hand tyre on the track. Just before the 50 board, I'm going to start braking very hard for Variante Alta. And we brake almost, well, yeah, briefly up to 100%, drop it down to third, drop it down to second. Very aggressive, as I say, on the curbs here. So we trail it off down to the first one, a little blip of gas, and then a little dab on the brakes for the second one. Again, jumping over that curb, and then getting up to 100% as early as possible. You can go nice and wide on exit. And it's the 100-meter board on the right-hand side is our final braking marker for Rivazza. We brake there up to about 80-90%, wipe that speed off, trail it off down to the first apex, get back on the gas at the apex. As I say, I was a little bit hesitant. I lost a tenth during this Rivazza bit. We go out here and then a little dab on the brakes, trail it off, and then we want to get back on the gas, take some curbing in the GT3 here, and then getting back up to 100%. And then we're just powering it over to the line. We have one final version of this lap coming up next with the driving line on for those that use it, and without me talking, so enjoy.